Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Strap in, buckle up, hold on tight. It's going to be a fun one we got for you today.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun today. I'm geared up for this one. I'm excited.
All right, so today's episode, the title of today's episode is The Crystal Ball Show.
All right.
Ooh, some mysteries.
There you go.
We need
like smoking cauldrons.
Yeah, we need all.
Remember Sensational Sherry where she had the big cauldron back at SummerSlam '89 with Zeus?
Yeah, we need Papa Shango.
There you go. Yeah, we could get him in there. Ultimate Warrior could have the black goo coming down. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. But before we start the episode, let's go ahead and crack us up on a frosty beverage here.
That's a good way to start.
Absolutely. Cheers to you, sir.
All right.
Cheers. All right, everybody. So let's lay the ground rules for this. So the way that we're going to do this is each person has 3 ideas that they think will happen within the next 2 years. Now, me and Frank, we have not ran these past one another. So you never know what's going to come up.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's going to be serious or whether it's going to be outlandish as hell.
I don't know, but it's definitely going to be fun. You guys, all of you longtime listeners, you know we like to pop each other in here. So I'm definitely coming for mine. Now, so I do have to give disclaimer, though, because I got to, peek behind the curtains deal, that this was my idea. And the reason I had this idea for this show or this type of podcast, we're coming off of the All In pay-per-view. We're heading into the All Out pay-per-view, just so you know what kind of when we're recording. And if you listen to one of our last episodes, I made a few good predictions about All In, and all of them were wrong. I got every single one of them, blew them all. Thought Britt Baker was winning the women's title. Nope. Thought the double turn was coming with Cole and MJF. Nope. None of that stuff happened, right? And that's a good thing. Like normally, me being a wrestling fan, me being a longtime fan, I would say I got my finger on the pulse. I know what's going to happen.
Usually we're pretty on the nose, yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of how it was for the last, 10 years in WWE. I knew everything that was coming before.
Yep.
And AEW's fell into that trap a little bit too, where it's really predictable. The fact that none of that pay-per-view was predictable is awesome. That makes it great to be a fan. It makes me excited because they're going different angles and different avenues that I'm not predicting, and that's a good thing. So we want to throw some long-term predictions out here now and see how wrong they can make us again. See if they can blow me out of the water again.
And with this one, once the other person hears the idea, you got to kind of give your opinion of it. Either it is, I'll buy a ticket to see that, or it's, ain't no way in hell that's going to happen.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. All
right, let me get the party started.
All right.
The first one that I got for you, we'll say this one is a serious one and can happen in the real world.
Okay.
All right. This one has to do with a gentleman who has came into the AEW scene as of the past year and a half, walked right through that forbidden door, and has blown us all away as wrestling fans.
All right, here we go.
Talking about Will Ospreay.
Nice.
Yeah, so Will Ospreay has verbalized on national TV that his contract with New Japan's come up in 6 months.
Yep.
So I think if TK is smart, he puts the bank vault right there in front of Will Ospreay.
I can see that.
I think Ospreay doesn't need a rocket, but he gets the rocket strapped to that back. I think Ospreay becomes the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Wow.
Within the next 2 years.
Wow.
And I think this man wrestles all over the U.S., the UK, Mexico, and Japan as the most traveled AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
I like it. So you think he's going to bring back the traveling world champion deal like the old, because Ric Flair was pretty much the last one of those that did that. Now everything else has been promotion based. So you see Ospreay just kicking open every forbidden door.
I do. I do that guy right there. I see in him, and of course he is Kenny Omega's protege.
Yeah.
I see every bit of Kenny Omega in him, but I also see there's a certain drive, a certain work ethic that you can just see in this guy's in-ring work. You just see it. I think you're going to see sensational promos come out of him. I think this guy is somebody who can adapt his style to anybody else and just work all over the world. And if Tony is smart, he'll do it under that AEW brand.
I like that idea. I do like that idea. And I don't know about the if Tony is smart deal, but that's yet to be seen. I mean, he has his ups, he has his downs, he has his ebbs, he has his flows, but when he strikes gold, he strikes it hot. He gets it good, and every now and again he strikes gold, and it turns out to be fool's gold. But you just have to see. I mean, talent wise, Will Ospreay ain't fool's gold, and whoever gets him, if he leaves New Japan, whoever gets him, I mean, they're getting a coup. They've got a face of the brand if they want to make him that.
Yep.
I'm just not 100% sure he's going to leave New Japan because he hasn't left up until now. I think he's getting his exposure in AEW, and I think he's just kind of building up his stock to go back to New Japan and say, well, now I'm worth this much in, what do they have, yen? No, that's China. That's China. Yeah, that's China. I think China has the yen. I don't know what.
Man, don't get me going for worldwide currencies.
Yeah, I was going to.
Look, I count stuff in beer and whiskey.
There you go. I like that. Well, speaking of that, let's take a drink of that one here.
All right. So are you buying a ticket to see that, or are you saying, ain't no way in hell that's going to happen?
No, I'm buying a ticket to see that, Jed. Whether or not, so like I said, I'm kind of on the fence of whether or not it would happen, but the payoff of if it happens would be so great that it would be more than worthwhile to buy the ticket to see that.
Awesome.
So when they come back and run the smallest arena we have in Charlotte area possible, smaller than the Bojangles, when they come back
I don't know, we could be running some VFWs now.
Yeah, I mean, or they might run the Few Stadium. Maybe they'll run the Caramount Medical Stadium up here in Gastonia. But so whenever they do that, I'd go to see it just because, I mean, first of all, seeing Will Ospreay live has to be phenomenal. Second, for him to be the champion, the face of the brand, they did it with Kenny Omega. They've done it with a lot of quote unquote AEW homegrown talent. So I think there'd be a hefty payoff for that. I don't know if I want to see him beat Max for the belt. So, because I don't know if an MJF Ospreay match would be very good. I don't know how that would go over. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's got potential. MJF showed me a lot at the last pay-per-view with his in-ring work against Adam Cole, so I guess there could be potential for it. I just don't know if I would love it. I think there would be other opponents that I would rather see Ospreay in there with to get to that world title. So, but yeah, I'd buy a ticket for that. So right. Yeah, I'll put one in. I'll put one in the hat for that one.
All right, let's move on to yours.
All right, so mine are going to go kind of staggered. I'm going to go with kind of the blatantly obvious, kind of the maybe that could happen, and then my last one's going to blow up the whole world. It's gonna knock everybody out your seat. So I'm going to tell everybody buckle into your ringside seat before we get to that. But the first one, I see within the next 2 years, I see CM Punk completely out of wrestling all over again.
I agree with that.
I feel like there's no way. I mean, so anybody who watched the All In pay-per-view knows that there was a backstage scuffle. There's rumors now coming out that he had a couple of backstage incidents, one with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Obviously, that's a clear one. Everyone knows that. Apparently, him and CM Punk are both suspended now because of that, which we just came off of CM Punk's suspension. We got, 3 good matches, and now he's right back in the doghouse again. And apparently there was a thing he had with Miro where, he kind of got dusted up with Miro, and challenged him to want to go outside. And I don't think CM Punk wanted to go outside with Miro. I think
anybody would want to go outside.
No, I think he was selling a bunch of wolf tickets right then, and had Miro called his card that day, we'd be CM Punk be back on that injured list for another 8 to 12 months. But and just in the conversations that I've had with other people about it, on message boards, things like that, is something that I pointed out. You notice CM Punk was real disgruntled in WWE, right?
Yep.
But you never noticed him having all these backstage interaction, backstage It's because in WWE, he was in the land of the giants. All those guys were,
bigger than him.
Yeah, about 100 pounds heavier than him, half a foot taller than he didn't have all this anger and all this beef drawn back then. now he's in AEW where he's got the keys to the kingdom. Tony Khan's he's given him basically carte blanche to do whatever he wants, but yet he's in a backstage altercation or getting in these fist fights with all these other, let's be honest, smaller guys. He's got all these problems with them all of a sudden. Now granted, he pulled Miro's card, so I'm not saying that he's a coward. He's only picking on guys that are smaller than him because, squaring up to Miro, you're banging in there about as big as you're going to get. But my point is, he didn't have all these problems there. Now, I don't know if that's a Tony Khan issue. I don't know if it's a lack of backstage leadership issue or if it's just a CM Punk issue that, he's just a jackass. But whatever the case may be, I don't see this relationship being sustainable for the next 2 years. He's got problems with everybody now. Jack Perry's a mid-carder. He's not main event, he's mid-card. He's got problems with the elite, the VPs. He's got problems with the main eventers. He's got problems with every damn body. They gave him Collision, as his own show to do. Apparently he requested Miro to be on it because he said, hey, you're wasting this guy's talent, which is true. You're not, he's not on TV. You're not using him. All good points. Well, the very first time there's a full, group gathering where everybody has to be in a building together, now we got these altercations again. Even if it is sustainable, I've said this before on a podcast, about the CM Punk experiment. And if you've noticed, I stayed true to, I've been, heralding the stuff that he's done since he came back. I'm interested to watch when it's interesting, but all this backstage nonsense is taking me more out of it than I was.
Right.
So yeah, that's my number one prediction. And like I said, it's almost pretty obvious after the most recent, backstage scuffle. But yeah, I don't see him still being in AEW come 2 years. And with all this nonsense, I definitely don't see WWE welcoming him back with open arms.
I agree with you on that. I'll buy a ticket for that. I 100% agree with where you're going with that. I also think, you kind of hit the nail on the head with two of the pieces there you kind of put down as far as it's a TK problem and it's a CM Punk problem. TK leadership, unfortunately, in order to be a leader, you got to be able to tackle things that you don't want to necessarily get involved with. And I don't think he likes confrontation. I don't think he wants to get his fingers dirty with all this CM Punk stuff. And unfortunately, he's going to have to, because if he doesn't, it could tank his whole company right up from under his nose. As far as CM Punk, it being his problem, dude, at some point in time, we're all grown men. You gotta be accountable for your actions.
ain't that the truth?
And if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and looks like a duck, it's probably a damn duck.
Yeah, at this point. And there's a common denominator. You got
Punk
all over the place. It isn't like now if they said he came out and had a backstage scuffle with Hangman or Kenny Omega, okay, there's already bad blood there. That could be from anywhere. The reports are saying Jack Perry instigated the whole thing because CM Punk spoke out about one of his spots. That's besides the point at this point. There's still a common denominator in here. AEW's got its problems. We backstage, we hear about all that stuff, but everybody the Malachi Blacks, all the other guys that were having these incidents, they've all seemed to calm down. Sammy Guevara, Eddie Kingston. You don't see any of them having problems anymore.
No, but if the story is as true as it's going, where Punk didn't want him to use real glass because of a safety issue, what the hell? You tell me somebody would have stepped to Sandman and said, I don't think you should use a Singapore cane.
Yeah, at this point.
Anybody go step to Bully or Devon and go, I don't think you should drag a table out tonight.
Yeah, if the agents are okay with it, if the boss is okay with it.
Let them go.
Right, and I get it. He was wrestling right behind him, right? If you're that nervous with it, go tell Tony Khan. They'll change out the mats. It ain't that big a deal. You pull up the apron in 2 minutes?
Yeah.
They staple it back down. And I've seen them, when it's bloody and nasty and all that, I've seen them in live action change that mat out in 5 minutes or less. It's not that big a deal.
And I think the spot that happened between him and Hook on that limo, the suplex into the windshield, dude, Goldust, Roddy Piper, anybody? Come on.
This isn't brand new.
It ain't brand new. We've seen it all before. The Best Friends, and then somebody else, the parking lot brawl the other week, the BCC.
Yeah.
They smashed it. Come on, man.
I mean, this is the same event where you got John Moxley literally running around with a skewer sticking out of his head. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, again, and I get it, he's trying to be a locker room leader, he says. He's trying to impose wisdom on these young guys. But if they ain't asking for it, hey, sometimes you got to know your place and just say, you know what, go out and do your thing, and whatever happens, happens.
And
God
kudos to Jack. Kudos to Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to stand up and look. I'm a man.
Yeah,
let me make my own decision.
Exactly.
And okay, now don't misinterpret that. Should you always listen to the advice the vets are giving you? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
You listen to it. Doesn't mean you always got to follow it word for word.
Absolutely not. I was told that somewhere along the way, everybody's going to offer you opinions. The best thing you do is take little bits here, little bits there out of everybody's opinion, and then make your own damn opinion.
Absolutely.
And like you said, he isn't a rookie in this business. He's young in the business, but it ain't like it's his third match. He's been around for a while. And again, if all the agents, everybody, all the producers, whatever they call them in AEW, if everybody's okay with the spots, let the spots happen.
Let it happen.
Just go out there and have your match. Let him do his thing. Go out there, have your match, whatever. Stay out of other folks' business sometimes, and that.
Keep my name out your mouth.
Exactly. That would have done CM Punk a lot of good in a few different instances here, because he jumps in. He's jumping into fires that don't concern him.
Yep.
And look what it's bringing. But yeah, all in all, I mean, that's my first prediction. I feel like he's gone out of wrestling within 2 years, never to be heard from again.
All right, I'll buy that one. All right, so now you said you were going to blow the world up on your third one.
That's my third one, yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm blowing the world up on both of my second and third ones.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
All right, second one that I have involves Dirty Dom and Mommy.
Uh-oh, here we go here.
So
we going to have a little Dom coming? Is that where you're going with this? Oh, no,
you're
stop.
Foreshadowing. You're foreshadowing.
If you go there, we're pressing pause.
All right. Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley's on-screen relationship storyline takes a more serious turn, and they decide to have a little Dom.
Oh, my God, that's where you went. Oh, no. Oh, my God.
However, Rhea says, Dom, you're carrying the child. And he goes on to be the first man in history to become pregnant.
Oh, God. So the hilarity of that with that angle it fits. It totally fits. With
Dom is still turning out heel promos to this day, being proud to be the first pregnant man.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. So full disclosure again, we didn't prep that before, so I didn't know that was coming, or I wouldn't have tried to jump in there with it. And just when he said Mommy and Dom, I'm like, wait a minute. I knew he was not gonna, but wow, you really went through the whole Dom's gonna carry the baby and everything. Like, are we gonna see him get bigger and week
absolutely.
by week? Oh my. So we're going through the whole process.
Absolutely.
He's not gonna step away like most of the WWE. Oh Lord.
Nope.
Oh my
You're gonna see the full term carry.
The hilarity of that is just too great. So my only fear with that is Dom has nuclear heat right now, and at that point he'll be the most beloved character because he'll be the funniest thing on TV that you've ever seen.
He'll get a lot of sympathy, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, just the hilarity of the whole thing. Oh my God, that would be great. Now, when you originally said it, I thought you were. I'm like, well, wait a minute. We can't get Rhea off TV. She's the hottest woman they got right now on Raw. We don't want to. But wow, you definitely spun me on that one. So yeah. So I got popped on that one. So yeah, I promise I'd buy a ticket to see that. All day long, I'd buy a ticket to see that. Just as, like I said, I could just imagine the promos.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine Dom talking about, morning pain and morning sickness and cramps and, my back hurts this week and oh my God.
False labor.
The hilarity of all that. Well, what about when he goes into labor? I mean, what do they do? Like,
hey, look, if May can give birth to a hand.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Well, hopefully Dom gives birth to a pair of balls, but that would definitely be the icing on the cake there. But oh my goodness, that was good.
That's my second one.
Oh Lord, that was fun. That was fun. So my second one isn't necessarily fun. It's probably it's probably, let's see, I said it's kind of, I could see that happening in there. I could definitely see that happening. So I could definitely see this was happening, but it's not a funny one, unfortunately. But what I see for my second pick, I see Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair main event night 1, WrestleMania 40. in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I feel like they're laying the groundwork slowly. You know, they're taking a real slow build with them having the whole tag team thing going. Now they kind of been laying off for a while since the last pay-per-view. You haven't really seen either one of them around. They're not really, you know, they're letting Io do her thing. They're letting her kind of emerge. They're keeping those two characters off TV. But I feel like somewhere around that Royal Rumble time, we get Bianca and Charlotte to kind of bump heads again. And then they get to square up, and, you know, then they finally get out of this whole, you know, we're kind of tag teams, or we're kind of in a three-way dance, or we're kind of, no. We want to see the two most athletic women in the WWE go head-to-head, one-on-one, main event, night one, WrestleMania.
Okay. Now, I will buy a ticket to see that, but I want to buy more tickets. I don't just want to buy a ticket.
Okay.
I want to see this turn into a John Cena, Randy Orton feud.
Lifelong feud.
Lifelong feud.
Those two definitely seem like good dance partners. I mean, let's face it, Charlotte's best dance partner to date was Sasha Banks, who's no longer in WWE, so she's got to find a new partner. Otherwise, you ain't dancing no more, and that's not going to work for her, brother. So
we got to get to 17.
You got to find a way to get to 17. So my thought is her and Bianca, I mean, I could see them having just one-on-one, because they've never done a full one-on-one match that went all the way through. Or in respect to your prior storyline, we haven't seen them have a match that carried the term yet.
Right.
So at this point, what better than to, you know, you've already laid some groundwork in SummerSlam. You already laid some groundwork, you know, in the summer. Let's let it linger. Let's let it simmer for a few months. You know, maybe have a little dust up at Survivor Series. You know, maybe they go back to the team concept again, and, you know, they're on opposite teams, or they're on the same team, or however you get there is getting there. I think they need to get there. Those two women would tear it down at WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
They would. I mean, there's no two better women on the roster right now that could. Both of them have already main evented a WrestleMania, so they both have that experience under their belts. So it isn't like the stage would be too big for them. It isn't like they wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. They got this.
Yeah.
And those two women could put on a show that would make you stand in awe of the whole match if you let them go at it and let them show their athleticism.
And you could carry it more. You could go into, it doesn't matter who wins the first. If Bianca wins the first, it would be Charlotte the vet going, I can't believe she got over on me. Or if Charlotte took the first, you know, Bianca going for that redemption. Like, all right, you got me once, but you ain't going to get me again. Yeah.
Now you got a whole, so I mean, it started at SummerSlam, going into SummerSlam last year. That could ride all the way to SummerSlam next year. I mean, every now and again, you get a certain piece of talent that rubs up against another certain piece of talent. And, you know, and you just see magic happen like right in front of your eyes. And it's like, whoa, what just happened right there? You know, wait a minute, let me see more of that. Well, then you do it a little bit more. You know, you sprinkle a little here, sprinkle a little there. I mean, the appetite, the appetite is there for it. You know, now all you need is to get the Pavlov dog response of every time you see those two near each other, you know, you're excited for it. You're ready for it. And you're waiting.
Those two could be the epitome of the definition iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're just two of the top, you know, they definitely, I could see that happening and blowing up.
Yep.
Definitely being a main event.
Yeah.
See that.
And it's worthy of no less.
Yeah.
If you're going to have that kind of match.
Oh, yeah.
And you've never had it up to this point, you don't blow that off at a elimination chamber or some craziness like that. And you hold that right on to WrestleMania. And let it main event night one. The movement's there. I get it, whatever the storylines are around, but I don't think there'll be a better storyline than that for the women's side that could possibly main event bigger than those two.
Cool. All right, moving on to my third.
Uh-oh.
Now the third, if the second one blew up the world, the third one just blows up the universe.
Uh-oh, here we go.
So get ready. So my third one involves Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Uh-oh.
And Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh, I thought you were going to say somebody of the female persuasion. I was going to say, well, that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Good line, sir. Good line. All right, so here we go. Vince McMahon tries to be cryogenically frozen and cloned so that the McMahon family will rule the world of professional wrestling forever. Triple H opposes the idea, which leads to a for real buried alive match between Vince and Hunter, with The Undertaker as a special guest referee.
Oh, wow.
Vince has Taker in his back pocket, but Shane and Stephanie help Hunter put an end to the tyrannical reign of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
So the end of the storyline culminates with Vince dying?
Vince being buried alive.
Wow. Good Lord. That was definitely that one was out there. Wow. All righty. So it was definitely out there. I do have to tell you, I would not buy a ticket for that though. Because I mean, I've been watching Vince McMahon products my entire life. And
so he ain't going out like that.
No, absolutely not. I feel like Vince is going to go out in a blaze and go like a plane crash.
Yeah.
Almost like the limo explode. And I feel like it almost will be something ridiculous like that.
Right.
Just because I think Vince has got to make a story out of it. There's no way he's just going to go and somebody's going to write a little blurb in a newspaper or something and call it one. No. Vince McMahon, whenever his time comes, I feel like it's front page news. It's, he takes a bunch of other like executives down with him. It's got to be something outlandish. But yeah, no, all kidding aside though, I don't want to see Vince go for one. I also don't want to see Vince come back. So I won't buy a ticket for that for those two reasons. One, I don't want to see Vince McMahon die because I love Vince McMahon and all his contributions. But I damn sure don't want to see anything that Vince wants to put on TV no more.
Nah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I do think it's funny. I give you that. That was hilarious. But I will not buy a ticket for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I do think, however, that story is kind of buried in a seed of truth, though. I do think that there is that internal power struggle between Vince and Triple H.
There may be, but I mean, with this Endeavor thing coming,
we'll never know.
They won't publicize that. No. I mean, luckily they know how to keep family business in the family. Behind closed doors. Well,
they're not running a Tony Khan show.
Yeah, they're not doing that where all nonsense goes. It's out before Tony knows about it. Hell, that the CM Punk thing that we just referenced, apparently everybody knew about it before Tony. Tony was finding out about it right as they were starting to do the scrum, and everybody was solely asking him about it. He's like, well, I haven't seen any footage, or I haven't heard all the reports. Hell, you're the boss. This happened 4 hours ago. What did you do for 4 hours that nobody told you, hey, Punk's in the back fighting again? Seems like that. Anyway, I digress. We won't go down that path again. But yeah, no, I do agree with that. I also look at it with the whole Endeavor sale coming. I don't know if Vince is really going to be in charge as soon as that finalizes anyway. We don't know what that's going to spin out like.
I mean, we've heard the reports and rumors of Triple H not being on the board anymore.
Yep.
Which I've got my own opinion on. I honestly think he's got better things to do than be on the board.
Yeah. I think he enjoys what he's doing right now a lot more than he does sitting on some board.
If he's running creative, I don't need to be making boardroom decisions.
No, absolutely not.
Let me run with creative.
Let's be honest. I mean, that's more of a Stephanie role anyway. Yeah. So then they said the board has been chosen except for one member. There's one holdout member. Could be Vince, could be Steph, could be Triple H, could be anybody.
Yeah.
But as far as being on the board of directors of WWE or Endeavor or TKO Sports, whichever one they want to call it, I definitely feel like that's more of a Stephanie thing where you would see Stephanie say, hey, I'll do this. Triple H does the day-to-day hands-on stuff.
Triple H is in the trenches.
Yeah, I feel like that's where they would both be happy at. Yeah, because Triple H he's a guy. He's one of the workers. He's one of the boys.
Yep.
I feel like him being closer to the boys is much better for him. And someone like Stephanie, Shane, even Vince, whatever, is better off to sit in one of those board meetings in a stuffy suit and tie all day having a, conversation about stocks and bonds.
Yeah, somebody will be up there, though, as far as the McMahon family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody will always be on that.
That's why they haven't announced the whole board yet. Yeah. I mean, if you take all the McMahons out of WWE, well, it ain't WWE no more.
Right.
At that point, it's TKO wrestling, and
I mean, the damn
God
belt,
only knows what you're getting in.
The new belt that they introduced has the lions again from the family crest.
So, right. I mean, they're not gonna taking the McMahons out of wrestling is like taking Ronald McDonald out of McDonald's.
That'd be like AT&T AOL taking over WCW.
Yeah, well, they phased out Ted Turner, and you see what happened. You see what happened to WCW. They didn't make it 2 years after that. After that finalized, they were in the tank by then. Completely sold for what, $2 million? Yep. So yeah, it doesn't exactly go so well when you do that there. But So yeah, no, I'm not buying a ticket for that, but that was funny. I'll give you that.
All right, let's move on to your last one.
All right, last one here. And so this one I think nobody's thinking about, but I do think this is reality. I do think this is going to happen. And I do think it's going to happen within the next 2 years. I see Roman Reigns dropping the undisputed world heavyweight title. I see him dropping it to John Cena for a 17th title reign. Is there any better way to give John Cena the record-breaking win than to go over the longest-running heavyweight champion of the modern era?
Damn.
John Cena's coming back for an 8-week run starting this week. Now, they're not going to do it now. I think Roman's champion for at least another year. But eventually, John's going to come back for that last hurrah, that last goodbye run. There's no point in having him be a 16-time champ tied with Ric Flair for the rest of his career. If you put John Cena over Roman Reigns for his 17th world title, that's the biggest world title win since Hulk Hogan beat Iron Sheik. Doesn't get no bigger than that, simply because the stature that Roman's gotten himself to, and then the record that John Cena would be breaking, this would be monumental.
So I'm on the fence with this one. So I've often sat back and thought, like, okay, Roman's streak is eventually going to have to come to an end here with the championship belt. Mm-hmm. And who is going to be the one to finally knock him off the top of the mountain?
Exactly. Got to be a quality character, right?
I've never really thought of it being John Cena.
Nobody has, because Roman's already beaten John Cena. When Roman goes through his list of accomplishments, he lists John Cena on that, and that kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, John Cena's one win away from a record-breaking title holdership. He needs one more title to win. What way to make that his biggest crowning achievement of his whole career than to go over a 3+ year reign of, at that point, maybe even 4+ year reign of Roman Reigns to crown him as the unheralded king of wrestling. And then John could take his, whatever his run turns into, be it a month, be it a week, be it whatever. He takes that, rides off into the sunset with his career well in check, goes off to Hollywood, never to really return back to wrestling again. But he's got the biggest win of his career under his belt, tied in with the same as winning the world championship on his way out. It's almost akin to when who is it? I lost his name when I said it. Ray from the Baltimore Ravens. What's his name?
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis, yeah. When Ray Lewis won the Super Bowl on his way out, on his retirement. When Michael Strahan won on his way out. The iconic Michael Jordan last shot in '98 when he won his sixth championship. John Cena winning the record-breaking title, going over Roman Reigns, the greatest world champion of the modern era, is monumental. That marks his place in history that no one can ever challenge.
So let me ask you this, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Let me ask you this, because this is going to determine whether I buy a ticket to see it or if I say there ain't no chance in that.
All right, what you got?
What happens to John after he wins the title?
What needs to happen to John after he wins the title?
Does he drop it? Does he just retire and let it go? What happens?
No wrestler really retires, right? Like when The Rock left, when he kind of crowned John Cena on his way out, and then he just disappeared. Still may come back, still may never come back. You don't know. I don't think any wrestler that does a retirement is kind of full of it.
So who does John put over once he picks this up for the 17th time to disappear again into Hollywood? Who does
Roman
he put
Reigns?
over?
I mean,
so Roman, they gonna bounce the title?
You don't
back
have to bounce it. He can have a summer run. I mean, John would only have. Let's see, Roman wrestles every other pay-per-view. Let's say John wins it at, let's say WrestleMania 41, right? Because that's still within our 2-month window or 2-year window. Let's say he wins it at 41. Why not drop it at SummerSlam? That gives Roman the summer off, which Roman apparently likes because he's taking a summer off right now, or he's coming off a summer off right now. It gives John Cena a long time to prep, get himself back in shape, dedicate himself to the wrestling. It gives everybody what they need. It gives Cena a last summer where WWE can promote him on tours. They can parade him through all their biggest cities, their post-WrestleMania European tour that they cherish so much. Run him through Chicago, run him through, the big markets, Madison Square Garden, with the belt. He's got it on his shoulder. You got all those photo ops. And then, he drops it right back to Roman at, let's say, SummerSlam. And then he kind of just fades off into the sunset as the last cowboy.
So I got my answer.
All right. What you got?
My answer is No chance in hell.
No chance in
No
hell. You don't
chance in
see
hell.
it?
Nope. Because I know who the new John Cena is.
Who's the new John Cena? I'm excited.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody
He's the new
Rhodes.
John Cena. Cody Rhodes has the kids vote. Cody Rhodes has the hot baby face like John Cena. And before too long, you're going to start seeing the Cody Rhodes boo-boo birds come out too, because he's going to get pushed too much into people's faces.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see Cody go over Roman at 40. I think that's going to be your John Cena story.
I don't see that one this time. We saw that last year, and I don't think that's, they said finish the story, and I heard Corey Graves even mentioned that again last week, when Cody was out there. He said, come out there and finish the story, and then they made kind of a passing joke at it. I don't think that title is Cody's story to finish yet. I don't think they need to. I don't see the need to rush it. I mean,
and even if it was John that put Roman down from the top of the mountain and John gets his 17th, who takes it off of John? The new John, Cody.
Now at that point, so I just remember John Cena, putting over Cody the last time we saw John. I still think so, and I think I shotgunned it when I said 41 because I think I was thinking of something else for 40, but we really don't have a Roman Reigns program for 40 with the strike that's going on in Hollywood and things like that. I actually think the Roman and John Cena thing would be good for 40. Then, like I said, so stick with my story again. Let me talk it out because like I said, I shotgunned too far out. I kind of skipped 40 in my head. But if they do that at 40, then you give the title back to Roman at SummerSlam. Then maybe Cody could win it at 41. Now that would probably be more realistic to see. Because, again, you don't want to put John Cena on a 2-year window. We got a strike right now. The iron might be as hot as it's going to get for him.
You got too many people pushing for the top, though, right now. I don't know if they're going to let that storyline unfold for the next 2 years.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
You got a man waiting in the wings right now with LA Knight. Now, do I think he is champion material right now? No, not right now.
He's U.S. or Intercontinental.
U.S. or Intercontinental.
Yeah, he's definitely mid-card.
That momentum train is building.
So, yeah.
And it's eventually going to pay off.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah. I mean, anybody who's listened to the show knows we're LA Knight fans.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're all for him getting pushed to the moon. and LA Knight ain't getting no younger, so push him to the moon fast.
Absolutely,
we don't have to pump
3
the brakes
rockets on his back. Come
exactly.
on.
We don't have to pump the brakes on this one. We need to go ahead and push that one through. But so all in all, whether or not you see it happening, would you buy a ticket to see it if it happened?
Yes, I would buy a ticket to see it if it happened, just on the premise of we could be watching John Cena make history in a 17th World Heavyweight Championship title. I would buy that ticket.
You would buy a ticket, but you don't see it happen.
I don't see it happen.
I tried to win you over. I tried to sell my point, but it's okay. I'll go along with that. Fact of the matter is, though, I would pay to see any of the stuff that we talked about today.
Especially Dom pregnant.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. At this point now, and again, I got all the stuff wrong last week. I probably got all the stuff wrong today. But it's just stuff that it seems like, the storylines are available. Hey, make them happen. It would, some of this stuff would be great TV. Some of it might be crap. It's up to you to decide. I mean, that's what you're listening for. We give our opinions. You can crap on them, or you can praise them to the moon. Up to you. Either way, we're sticking by our stories.
Absolutely. So reach out there on our social media platforms. Drop us a line. Tell us what you think. And like Frank said, let us know. Now, do they suck? Do you see them? Would you buy a ticket for it? Who knows? But anyway, thank you for listening to today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. We thank you and we bid you adieu.
Yowie wowie.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for the Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.